Ghosty, are you there?
I am here.
Yeah, you are. So, that was my little spoiler-free section. Obviously, I really enjoyed the movie. Where it's gonna fall in my rankings is kind of another thing, because one thing that really hinges on where I'm gonna rank a Halloween movie, a lot of it hinges on how fun is that movie to watch. And fun and violent are sometimes two totally different things. Halloween, very fun to watch. Halloween H2O, very fun to watch. Halloween 4, very fun to watch. That's why they're at the top of my list. Now, you look at other Halloweens that are grittier or dirtier, bringing up Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie's Halloween is like third to last on my list. Not because it's a bad movie, but just because it's so gritty and dirty and like heavy, it's not as fun to watch. And I think Halloween Kills is going to suffer a little bit from that for me, because while it's very entertaining, it's a heavier movie, dark in tone, dark in palette, and it's gritty and it's not as fun to watch, and it's a little longer. What do you think about that?
Are we in the spoiler section or are we not?
We are in spoiler section.
Okay. Yeah, it was definitely a darker movie. I'd agree with that. Now, I should preface this by saying I have only seen, I've seen Halloween 1, 2, 3, Rob Zombie, the first one, Halloween 2018, and Halloween Kills. I've seen 6 out of 11 12? Mm-hmm. 11 movies, so I'm a little over halfway. I mean, should I just go out there and say what I thought about it? How my initial opinion?
Yeah, don't get too specific on scenes or anything, but give me what I just did, basically. What I'd like to know specifically, what did you like most about it and what did you like least about it?
Without going into specifics, but still in spoiler territory.
Well, yeah, I don't want you to go to start describing whole scenes that I don't want to get into yet.
Right. Okay. What I liked most is the kills. And like the scenes involving Michael and the raw kills that happened were really done.
Basically,
well done.
The only thing I don't want to touch on in detail yet is the last minute of the film.
Yeah. Right. And then what I did not like was the whole massive town aspect of the whole movie.
What do you mean by massive? Like, you don't like the fact that Haddonfield is big?
No, I didn't like that. Okay, I'll just come out and say that was... This is going to be a shock, especially to you, but that was the worst Michael Myers film I've ever seen.
Very interesting. Considering you've only seen a few.
Because take into account that I've seen 1, 2, 3, Halloween, Rob Zombie 1, 2018, and now this. So I've seen 6 out of 11.
So for Michael Myers, you've seen 1 and 2, Rob Zombie, and H2O?
Rob Zombie. Nope, and 2018.
In 2018, okay.
Yes. So out of those 4...
This is your least favorite iteration of the character of Michael Myers?
Yes. And it's no. I shouldn't say that. It was a good version of Michael Myers, but I did not enjoy the movie.
Oh, wow. Okay. Why?
And I've watched it twice. So without getting into huge specifics or scene breakdowns, I have a long list of things that I did not like, and I've only got 3 things that I liked about the movie.
Okay.
Like, I liked the kills, because those were great. I liked the scenes involving Michael. Those were great. I liked the kind of... I guess it's 4 things, but I liked the the kind of dig at Halloween 3 with the masks. I
Yeah.
kind of liked that. I felt like that was kind of like a haha, fuck you, Halloween 3. And I actually didn't mind the gay guys. I especially really liked the scene where Big John. I won't go in. This is small.
No, you can break down
where
the
Big
scene
John
if you
picked
want.
up a little knife, and Little John picked up a big knife.
I did not notice that. That's hilarious. I do now. I remember now.
It was totally a dick joke.
Oh my god, you're right.
It is.
I wondered why one
It's
of
a
them grabbed a
total
tiny knife.
Yeah. Big John grabbed a tiny knife.
That's so funny.
I was rolling. I thought that was pretty good.
What did you think of the casting of Andy McDonald? Do you know Andy McDonald from anything?
Who? You're gonna have to tell me character names because
He
I
was
don't
Big
know
John.
actors that well. Oh, he was fine. I know I've seen him in other things before, and I recognized his face, but I don't remember.
He's
what
aged a
scene.
bit. Do you remember Stewart from Mad TV?
Yes.
He was Stewart from Mad. No.
Maybe that's what I recognize him from.
He was in
But I'm
Mad.
sure I've
That's
seen him
all
in
I
other
know him
things.
from is Mad TV.
Okay. Yeah, he did great. I didn't dislike any. I can't say. Okay, I did dislike one actor's acting, but the rest of them, like the main cast, were really good. I didn't dislike any of their acting or their lines or anything like that.
I'm so glad we got to see more of little Julian, the kid that was being babysat. We got to see more of that black sheriff dude. Sheriff, I forget his name. Sheriff Dorsey.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have that much of a role in this movie.
He
but
had
we did see more.
he had like 3 times more screen time than he did in Halloween 2018. That's for sure.
Yeah, but he only had 15 seconds in 2018.
That's what I mean. Is I just wanted more. He had a bunch of scenes in the hospital in this movie.
Yeah.
I was glad to see him come back. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
Oh no, it's just like I said. I won't go into like I can start listing off different topics that I wrote down, but that'll start to go into certain scenes, and I don't know when you're ready to do that.
Well, why don't we sort of try to take it scene by scene, and we'll talk as we go. So obviously the big thing you want to talk about at the beginning of the film was when
Right.
they went back to Halloween 1978. I was so excited. I popped so hard because immediately it looked so good. It looked so good. They got the mask right from the last movie, or from Halloween 2, I mean. They got the movements. They got it was clear to me immediately that Nick Castle, the original Michael Myers, was playing Michael in the flashbacks because of the size of him and the way he moves. It was like watching 1978 Michael all over again. He just moves in a very unique
did
way
they
that
bring the
no
original
other
Michael back?
actor. What was that?
They brought the original Michael back.
Yeah, Nick Castle was playing Michael in all the flashback scenes, the original Michael.
Oh.
And you could tell
Sure.
because he moves like him. It looks like him. The cinematographer had to copy Dean Cundy's work with making it look like Halloween 2, and he did such a good job. That flashback scene was done so good. Seriously, it was done so well. CG Loomis.
I'm gonna be the entire opposite of you this whole review.
You must. CG Loomis was so fucking good too. I couldn't believe that, and they were smart about it. They kept him in shadow. They kept him not in bright light. They never lingered on his face. Did you not like CG Loomis?
Okay, so I'm going to talk both those points. Going with Loomis first, I thought Loomis was a real person. I thought that was a really convincing
Right? The
look.
CG was so
I didn't know
good.
he was CG. However, and the voice, the sound of his voice sounded really good, but I felt like the actor, or at least I thought it was an actor, did a shit job. I thought he was just poorly acted.
Really?
And just,
Because
it
it
was
was just
so weird. He
computer
was so
generated.
stiff.
I mean, it might have been because it was
so
computer generated,
stiff.
or maybe they got a guy that sort of looked like Loomis and then CG'd his face to be Loomis.
Maybe,
I don't
but
know.
like,
I
it
liked
just,
it, man.
It sounded
he was
weird.
He was that was my biggest complaint with the CG Loomis was his voice. We've heard a Loomis sound alike in Halloween H2O, Halloween 2018, and now. And honestly, I think this was the worst Loomis sound alike we've heard.
I didn't mind the voice. I just felt like it was very unenthusiastic. There was no passion behind it. Did Michael kill again?
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird.
Could be anywhere else than
that
here.
delivery was kind of weird.
Like, it just didn't sound good. He looked great and he sounded fine, but the delivery was terrible.
And I thought it was great when Michael fights the cop upstairs. Well, that was a great scare when he's like Haddonfield, where nothing exciting ever. And then Michael pops out. Great jump scare. And then I like that the cop got in a few.
It coming.
Well, of course. And the cops got in a few punches on him too, which I like.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, go on.
Well, I was gonna tie in with like that whole flashback, and this will go throughout the whole movie. Is I felt there's a lot of reasons why I didn't like this movie, and like I said, I've got like a whole page of them. But part of it was I felt like they spent way too much time going over the original story. It's like they made this movie realizing, what if our audience hasn't seen the original Halloween? Shit. Let's put in like a 15-minute flashback in the middle. Let's make sure that we have a scene that depicts, hey, this is Michael's house. Guys, audience, this is Michael's house. This is how it started. And it's like, all of that could have been left out. The flashback, the pandering to like the old movie kind of stuff. If you're coming to see this movie, you've probably seen the original. And if you haven't, this is a third part in a series. It's not the director's fault if you haven't seen it. I felt like it was just extra padding that didn't really add to anything.
I think you might be conflating Halloween 2 with Halloween 1. My wife did the same thing. All that we saw, all those flashback scenes, none of that was in Halloween 1. None of that.
No, we didn't see it, but we didn't.
That's why they showed us. That's why they showed us the flashback, was to flesh out off Brackett's, not Brackett, Hawkins, to flesh out Hawkins' story and to show you his point of view that night. So none of that was a repeat or a flashback. In fact, as someone that's seen Halloween 2, I needed that. Because I've seen Halloween 2 a million times. So when I was watching this movie, the whole time during these flashbacks, I kept going, okay, well, we know Michael's going to the hospital because that's where Laurie is. Because I've seen Halloween 2. And I had to keep reminding myself, fuck, they retconned that. We don't know where Michael is right now. Halloween 2 doesn't exist anymore. And I think that's great because when Brackett in Halloween 2018 says that he was the arresting officer that night, that breaks one of the main rules of storytelling, which is show, don't tell. All they did was tell us.
Right.
So now they showed us. They went back and showed us what happened that night. And I think they did a really good job, to be honest.
I didn't think the scenes were bad. I just didn't feel like they were necessary. I've seen Halloween 1, and I've seen Halloween 2, and I've seen 2018. And I just didn't feel like it added enough to the story to warrant that much time. Especially it's not even the Hawkins one. It's the scene with the gay guys and the kids that come to their door.
That's what I was going to say.
While all the characters were fine, everything was beautifully acted, and I didn't have a problem with anything. It was, let's face it, it was the only reason that scene was in there was to point out, hey guys, this is Michael's house. We know it's Michael's house. You didn't need to show me 20 minutes of movie.
That's
for me to
when we get to that part of the movie, I remembered thinking, we haven't seen Michael in a long time. Like, you go very Michael-less through the middle of the movie when they're showing you too much of Big John and Little John. They showed us 10 minutes at least of those two characters when they could have shown us 2 and gotten the point across that this is the old Myers house. You know what? It's been painted. It looks way different on the inside. Yes, you need to say that this is Michael's house. Maybe not 20 times in a 10-minute scene. Do it twice. And I don't need to know about how these two gay dudes met. And I don't need to know all this backstory. And that's typical of like Danny McBride and David Gordon Green. Guys that come from comedy, they want to break off and do these little comedic side stories in the movie. And that's kind of what I was saying in the beginning of this review that this movie suffers from is middle movie syndrome, which is they had to add filler. So now we got to go back and see what happened in 1978. Now we got to spend fucking 15 minutes with Big John and Little John because they're just trying to pad it out, and I don't think it needed that much padding. They could have cut out most of the Big John, Little John stuff.
Yeah, that's honestly one of my biggest problems. In fact, the biggest problem I have with the movie is I felt like it was 5% Michael and 95% story. And that really killed the experience for me.
I kind of felt the opposite. I remember thinking before we got to the Big John, Little John stuff, I'm like, man, we're getting a lot of Michael in this movie. And then it's just very little Michael towards the middle of the movie.
Exactly. It like front loads with like...
It's super heavy on the first and third act with Michael.
All that shit.
Yeah.
It slows way down.
So I'm reading through the plot
I
here.
do want to bring up something.
Go on.
Once you're done, or when you're ready. So I remember asking you last night about what would disappoint you, and you said the very first thing you said. Do you remember it?
Was it if they relegate Lori to a hospital the entire movie?
And she was in the hospital the entire movie.
And I was okay with it.
I was like totally busting up last night. Like, oh shit.
No, I was totally okay with it. And here's why.
Wow.
This is a great example of wrestling booking at its finest. If you're going to have Roman Reigns fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, you don't show them fighting on TV every Monday leading up to WrestleMania. You keep them apart as much as possible. They never cross paths. And they're doing different feuds. They're fighting different people. And then right before WrestleMania, they cross paths and then the big fight happens. And that's what we're seeing in this movie. They very intentionally kept Michael and Lori very far apart from each other because all the all the wind is going to go out of the sails if we get that big face-off now in this movie. That big face-off needs to not happen until at least Act 2 of the last movie. So it's great that they kept her in the hospital. They needed to. She just had abdominal surgery. What can she do? So it's very realistic to me that Laurie Strode would not only say, fuck this, but then she would try to fucking knee a doctor in the stomach and burst her own stitches. Like, that makes total sense. And it's very realistic that then she then has to get taken back to her fucking hospital room because she won't listen. I liked that a lot. And at the end of the movie, she left the hospital. And you know, so I was okay with that. When I was saying I didn't want her in the hospital the whole movie, I was thinking like in Halloween 2, how she's laid up, she can't talk, she's drugged, she doesn't do anything, she goes to sleep every 20 minutes.
Right. All right. Let's move on. What else you got?
It's gonna make the face-off in Halloween Ends, the third film, much more impactful that they didn't even face off in this movie.
I agree.
Meanwhile, I'm reading the plot. Meanwhile, Tommy Doyle celebrates the 40th anniversary with longtime friends Nurse Chambers, Lindsay Wallace, and Lonnie Elam, toasting to Laurie Strode. So this is when they're all at the bar. This was a good scene, I thought, when Anthony Michael Hall. One point I want to make, I think I got way too much Anthony Michael Hall than I bargained for in this movie. The guy that plays Tommy Doyle.
Who is that? Okay.
The bald-headed, the angry guy with the bat.
Yep.
I think we got way too much of him in this movie. And again, middle movie syndrome, because we need to tell another story. This whole movie is a B plot. Um, eh, we got way too much of him in the movie. He wasn't very likable. He was the aggressor most of the movie in terms of trying to rile people up. They got a mentally handicapped dude killed. He got a mentally handicapped dude killed with all his evil dies tonight chanting and riling up the audience. Though I did like in that scene when he tells the story to the crowd of Haddonfield citizens that he's getting this crowd riled up against Michael before they even know that Michael's not dead or even back. They don't even know he's back yet. So that's cool because that really sets the stage for later in the movie when everyone's just, we're going to fuck this dude up. I did like that. Mm-hmm. Did you have any thoughts about that scene?
Okay, I actually have multiple thoughts about, like, I have multiple different notes about Tommy and the town and everything like that.
I also liked his acting a lot in this scene when he told the story.
I thought the bar scene was great. I had no problems with the bar scene at all until the very end of it, when whoever the fuck it was in the bar and said, then evil dies tonight. Oh my god. The amount of cringe I felt every time they said evil dies tonight. It was said like 30 plus times.
My wife said that on the way home. She said they would not stop with that shit.
It was cringy. It sounded bad. It, like, one time, whatever. Tommy Doyle sucked hard. I didn't like his acting. I didn't like his lines. I didn't like the character. I thought he was trying to be more of a main character than he needed to be, and he wasn't a good main character. He annoyed me when he was on screen.
I agree. I didn't want that much Tommy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was more Tommy than I thought we were going to get. In fact, I thought Andy Matichak and Laurie Strode, Allison and Laurie, I thought they were going to get as much screen time as Tommy did, but it was flipped. Tommy got as much screen time as Laurie did in the first movie. And it's again, middle movie syndrome. There's not a lot to do about it. So anyways, go on.
Well, okay, so Tommy, like I said, Tommy he bored the shit out of me. In fact, it made me upset. Like, why is this person, like, you have a role, but you don't need to be this front and center in the movie. And then I felt like the whole bit with, like, the angry crowd took up way too much of the movie. That was like the entire movie was all about the crowd being angry and looking for Michael, whereas they were wrong, first of all, and then they were very frantic about it. And even when, like, Karen and Laurie are trying to, like, calm the crowd and stop them, and even Karen's, like, at the doors trying to stop them from breaking in before that mentally patient dude dies. I'm sorry, but if people aren't just gonna, like, rush past her and start bashing in the doors when people are screaming, that's not Michael. And, like, they acted like mindless zombies, and it irritated the hell out of me. Like, that's not gonna happen. When I understand in the beginning, when, like, people are rushing past and, like, there's a lot of commotion and everything, but when they're at the doors and she's standing there, they have no choice but to listen. And they just zoned her out.
Well, they probably can't hear her over all the screaming.
And that's the other thing that I didn't like, is I'm, like, deleting notes as I go. I didn't like the plot that the town people didn't know what Michael Myers looked like. That's bullshit. If we're thinking about it in a realistic view, how many serial killers are plastered all over the news in our real life time? You mean to tell me that after Michael was caught, they didn't fucking plaster his face all over the news for the next year all about his trial and what was happening to him. And then multiple other documentaries would have been made over the past 40 years, and they would have probably had his face on them. The townspeople, especially in Haddonfield, damn well should have known what his face looked like, or very close to it.
Yeah, I agree that people probably should have known what he looks like. But again, I think that speaks to mob mentality. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm sure a lot of people at the January 6th insurrection probably thought that they were in the right too. And that's probably what this movie's referring to, is things like the social unrest in the country when they're showing mob mentality, getting innocent people killed. That's probably the only social message you could probably draw from this movie, is where they're mirroring society with that. But I don't think with, you know, what seemed like 50, 60 people all screaming in a hallway, I think if they heard her, it wouldn't have even made a difference. These people are mad and they want someone to pay. I think they did hear her.
Maybe, but even somebody right next
I don't think
to
they
her
cared.
would have heard. And they even showed that. They even showed Tommy a few feet away,
Yeah,
right before he jumped, and he realized. So he was close enough that some people would have heard. I don't know. I just don't feel like the crowd just went from being completely sane to all of a sudden just brain off, zombie mode, kill whoever's in front.
yeah, mob mentality's like that.
It wasn't a good direction.
Yeah, no, and I think the whole story with the wrong guy getting killed and them chasing, I don't care. The movie's not about that guy. The movie is not about, he is neither Lori or Michael. So I don't care. And you know what? And if you're going to write a scene where this happens, where the mob gets the wrong guy, make it 1 5-minute scene. Don't make it 28 minutes of the movie.
But they took so much of the movie. There was so much wasted on mob mentality, trying to find Michael, Tommy talking to the camera, and the mob chasing the guy, and fuck off. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's kind of, but that's the theme of this movie also, is mob mentality and anger, whereas the first movie was about trauma and overcoming it. This movie is clearly about anger and mob mentality. I mean, they beat the shit out of Michael towards the end of the movie. But moving on through our plot.
Yep.
So after the bar scene, at the same time is where Michael fucks up all the people, all the firefighters. You want to go over that scene?
I mean, it was okay. I thought the scene looked cool.
I mean, we saw it all in the trailer already.
Yeah, we saw it in the trailer. I have something to say about it, but I want to wait till we get towards the end of the movie to say, because I feel like it'll be more impactful at that point. I didn't think that scene was bad. I thought it looked good. I thought it was... See, here's the thing. I like to nitpick about things. Michael would have fucking suffocated in there. The oxygen was all burned out. He wouldn't have lived. But I understand it's a movie. I gotta give them some leeway. Okay,
yeah, I was going to say, I could point out 60 other things that are unrealistic about Michael Myers.
Yeah, exactly. But it was still cool. Like the death scenes and Michael coming out of the house just looking sinister as shit.
Him standing there with that, whatever it was, that claw. And then,
yeah.
So there was one scene in the trailer where when Michael comes out of the porch, it shows him walking down the scene with a burst of fire coming out behind him from the door. And it worried me when the trailer dropped, because I was like, are they going to go with shitty CG because they're rushed or something? And you'll see it on screen right now. It's that shot right there behind me. And they took it out of the movie.
Right there?
Thank God. They took it out of the movie. I was keen-eyed watching for it, ready to see it and shake my head, but they took it out of the movie, so that was really great. Very good to see. I liked the kill he got on that first firefighter, where he like hit his eye, he stabbed his eye out with that, I forget what it is, it's like a cane or something that he had.
Yeah.
And the gore in that scene was really good. I loved the use of like different firefighter, equipment and lingo, like the Mayday alerts, and when the guy hit his Mayday alert, you can hear them all go radio silent so he could give them their location. I like that.
Right.
They clearly had an advisor on set.
Yeah.
I like that scene a whole lot. Probably one of the better scenes in the movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Michael comes out and one-on-one. I like that the firefighters immediately upon seeing Michael, the firefighters like start raising their axes and shit, like they're ready to fight him. They don't even ask questions or talk about it.
I actually do have something to say now. Go ahead though, finish your thought. And
but as far as the rest of that scene goes, I think that's all I really got. Go ahead.
Okay, so I forgot. The one thing I actually do have to say about that scene was it kind of pissed me off how all the firefighters just one-on-one'd him. Like you just.
I noticed that. I remember thinking, I'm like, why are they
guys?
one-on-oneing him when they have axes? Like,
Yeah, they're fucking armed with, a giant saw and axes and.
Because the movie has to happen.
To the teeth and. Yeah, I get it. It's plot armor. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on down the plot here. So Allison defies her mom eventually and joins in the mob to hunt down Michael. Lori awakens in the hospital and meets Hawkins. So Hawkins was Karen's dad, right?
They never said.
But so in
It
Halloween
did-
2018, when she first runs into him outside the house and they spook each other, and she goes, "God damn it, Frank!" I remember thinking she's speaking to him with such familiarity, like that line stuck out to me in Halloween 2018. And they discuss in Halloween Kills that they had crushes on each other, they kissed. So
Yeah, but Hawkins did say in the bed that like. He never pushed it because she was sweet for Ben Tramer.
Say that again?
But that was only at the time. Well, they had a part in the movie where Hawkins said that he wanted to go further with her, but he knew that she liked Ben Tramer, so he didn't. But then again, that was like right as they were 19 or 20 or whatever the fuck they were. So
right.
Yeah, maybe a little bit down the line they did explore something. Maybe
also, shout out to poor
hinting
sweet
at.
Ben Tramer.
Yeah.
Who's still alive if Halloween 2 never happened. So the scene in the massacre in the park, boy, was my heart broken to see Nurse Chambers go. I knew it had to happen. But she is a Halloween veteran. She was in Halloween. She was in Halloween 2. She was in Halloween H2O. She was one of the few side actors that was in almost as many movies as Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yep.
So I really was sad to see her go, but, Michael's got to do what a Michael's got to do. They made it really clear in the firefighter scene that they're going to be stacking up the body counts. The body count in this movie. So that made me realize, okay, pretty much all these people are dead. All these side characters they brought them back to kill. So it was still sad to see her go, and the guy and his wife playing the doctor and the nurse. That was really cool to see those bodies stack up. Great to see Marion come back. Great to see the window get broken behind her just like it did in Halloween 1. I loved that Michael jumped on top of the car again like he did in Halloween 1.
Yeah,
that was rad. Yeah, so it was sad to see her go, though. Do you have anything about... Oh, my one thing about that scene I want to say, I thought it was an odd choice that Lindsay, of all the people, survives. And I don't know why, but we will have to find out in Halloween Ends.
Yeah. I thought the park scene was really cool. I thought a lot of... I liked him jumping up the back. The kills, though.
When he kills the black dude?
He kills the black dude in such a good way.
He puts a knife up his eye
blows her head off.
In this direction, and you see his eyeball coming out under the knife. It was one of the most gnarly kills in the whole franchise.
It was. That was a really good kill. I thought the kids just before that too. The little girl, she was great at being a sassy little girl.
Oh, those kids were so fucking
like
good.
she
at
reminded
being
me of my
shit.
ex's cousin.
And I like that you see that because they don't know where their third friend is, the one that has the witch mask from Halloween 3. And what I like about this movie is a lot of times when you thought they were gonna puss out on you and fake out, they didn't fake you out. When the little girl's on the swing and they go, he's been playing with us all night, standing behind trees and being creepy. I thought they were just fucking with her because they knew who Michael Myers was. And then I'm like, oh, they're fucking with you. But then the little girl goes, oh, he's right over there. But even then, I still was like, oh, it's gonna be someone else. They're gonna fuck with. And then it shows him, and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm like, well, surely he's not gonna come over. And then he starts coming over, and then the kids run. The movie did that in numerous times where I thought they were going to puss out, and they didn't.
Right. To end my thoughts, because I thought that park scene was pretty good. I didn't have any problems with it. Interesting one-liner. This is for Loomis before getting killed. That was good.
It was a little cheesy, but it's like, man, give Nurse Chambers her one line. It's cheesy. She also had the same revolver in her hand that Loomis used. Not the exact one, but the same model. So I thought that was nice.
My one gripe with that scene, though, was the music. It had the
Speak
worst,
up. What?
The worst part of that scene was the music towards the end of the park scene, where whoever the chick was that got away from Michael at the very end, and she went and ran into the park. Right before that, when he's like choking her up against the car, it had the most distracting music I've ever.
Are you talking about that Halloween 3? Like, it was
really... like somebody went and got shit-faced and then was handed a xylophone. And here's the thing, I got a sound clip because I fucking was like, all right, look, I gotta show you what I mean because it sounds so bad. And look, I'll play it right now. Like, shut the fuck up! It's so loud.
I kind of liked it. It kind of reminded me of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and I think that's maybe why they put it in there, because those masks were also in that scene.
Maybe.
But it did stand out, and not in a good way. No other music in the movie was like that. Yeah. That's worthy of pointing out, I would say.
And since I'm on the topic of music, I didn't really care for the music in this movie. 2018's was fucking great. It has the best, like when the Shape hunts Allison song was fantastic, right when Oscar dies.
Yeah.
But in Halloween Kills, none of the music stood out to me.
There was no standout track in this movie. I did like the clean rendition of Halloween on the piano, and I liked the music that played over the title card and all that. But no, there was no "The Shape Hunts Allison" in this movie.
Right.
They iterated on it for a part of the movie, and it was cool, but it was not as good, of course. Yeah, I agree. I think the music in this one wasn't as good as Halloween 2018, for sure. Definitely.
Right.
So after the park scene. Lonnie, God, I keep getting Lonnie and Tommy mixed up, and you would think I wouldn't, but Lonnie and Allison, I believe, they map the kills going straight to Michael's house.
Lonnie, Allison, and her boyfriend.
Yes. And on the way there, Michael kills an elderly man and his nurse in the home. Although that's what this recap says, it was an elderly man and his nurse.
Wait.
I don't think so. I think it was the chick from the cemetery.
Nurse?
No.
Wait a second. Hold on. They're saying it's supposed to be his nurse. I thought they were like married.
They were married. This is wrong. It says while Michael kills an elderly man and his nurse. What? No. This is wrong.
I mean, he had a CPAP
No, that
machine
lady, that
when he came
black
out the
lady
room.
was
They
the
didn't see it.
gravekeeper from Halloween 2018. Remember when the podcasters go to the graves and they sit by the grave and be all dramatic?
Yeah.
And that black lady is like, these white motherfuckers.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's her and her husband in their home, and Michael kills them. And that's another reason I liked this movie, was because it brings back a lot of people from the last movie to show them get killed. You know what I mean? So I did like that. The doctor and nurse, husband and wife, they get it too. Let me see what's next on our...
Right, yep. They died in the park scene.
So he's on his way to his childhood home. They take Lindsay to the hospital as well. Tommy reunites with former Haddonfield Sheriff Lee Brackett. So fucking rad that they brought back Charles Cypher, the same actor that played Sheriff Brackett in the original Halloween, but now he's a security guard at a hospital. Very good to see him. His daughter was killed by Michael because she got a little bit of butter on her clothes and got completely naked. Tommy's mob, he's getting his mob all worked up. He gathers the whole hospital, and he separates from them to inform Lori about Michael's survival. Another really good scene.
Right.
Let me know if you have anything to say about any of these scenes as I go. Because then we're going to get into the Big John, Little John saga.
Yeah, and I'll get into certain things later on, because I've got, let's see, 3, 6, I've got 6 other notes that can kind of just be tied up at the end and just be like end discussion or whatever. I've already talked about like the whole hospital scene with Tommy and everything. I felt was just so overdone and took way too much time.
One note I want to make, as I thought was interesting, is that they used footage from Halloween 2, even though they retconned Halloween 2. They show a shot from Halloween 2 where they uncover Annie Brackett's dead body on the gurney. And that was in Halloween 2, but they retconned Halloween 2. But that's interesting. I'm just looking at my notes for side notes that I wanted to make before we move forward.
Okay.
Yeah, we're moving on to the saga of Big John and Little John. So,
okay.
Here's the 2 ways I think about that scene, those scenes with Big John, Little John. The owners of the Myers house in real life, the real owners of that house that is now a chiropractor's office, they have been refusing to let people shoot Halloween movies in there since 1982. Wow. So the fact that they even got that house was sheer amazing to me as a Halloween fan. I knew how big of a deal that was. I knew it wasn't a set. And so I get it. If you got the house, motherfucker, use it. They have been denied that house for decades, and they finally fucking got it. So beautiful on the inside to see what the owners have done to that house, because a lot of it was original. They did very little alterations to the house because the owners wouldn't let them.
Right.
And so the beautiful inside of that house, it's so heartwarming for me as a Halloween fan to see it again. So I get it. I get why we spent so much time with Big John and Little John, because they got the house and they were excited about it and they wanted to use it. But still, we spent too many scenes with Big John and Little John. I love Andy McDonald. I love the other dude. I forget his name, but he was in El Camino. Scott MacArthur is his name. I love them, but we spent way too much time with them, I think, and it was padding, and it was obvious second act padding.
It was just them trying to really make sure people understood this was Michael's house, and he always comes back, and what happened here, and it's like, shut up. We've all seen Halloween.
You know when we should have left Big John and Little John? Remember we've already been with them now almost 10 minutes when the kids knock on the door and they go outside and the kids have the Halloween 3 masks and they do a fake out on you. So I actually don't give them credit for this because I said they don't fake out, but they do. They fake out by making you think Michael entered the house while they were dealing with these kids outside. But it's really the third fucking shithead going inside and stealing their candy. That is where that's...
And you know what? My friend called that scene when we watched it.
That's... where it should have ended. It should have actually been Michael, and he should have scared the kids away and then killed the two gay dudes. The end. Instead, we get a whole nother 10-minute scene. And then Andy McDonald, Big John, gets an off-screen death. And then I was like, well, at least we're going to see it later, because Michael is a very crafty boy, and we're going to see his arts and crafts later. Nope, he just took a knife to the stomach. That's all we see.
Yep. So
less cool.
I do have something to add on to that if you're done. So one of my major talking points in this, or irritate, and granted, I haven't seen all the Halloween movies, so maybe he did this in others.
Yeah, see, this is the thing I want to note to people and to you, is that for you to say this is your worst Michael Myers film, to everyone else hearing that, you have to understand that doesn't mean it's a bad Michael Myers film. It just means that Ghost has only seen a couple.
It's not.
Because if you haven't seen Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 or Halloween 5 or Halloween 6, God, those are trash entry Michael Myers.
We will see, because we'll get through those eventually. Now, maybe, like I said, you'll have to clue me in on this if this has happened. But when did Michael start staging bodies?
Since Halloween 1, bro.
No. Not like
this. Bro. Yes, he did. In Halloween 1, he put PJ Souls up in the closet, and her eyes were all rolled back like this. And then right when she discovers him, she falls back. She goes back, and then somehow Paul is upside down. Like, she runs into Paul, who's hanging like an acrobat, and he swings. He wasn't hiding Paul. What was he hiding Paul on one of those pull-up bars? No, Paul just fell in a timed swing. That was him staging. He's always been one to stage his kills.
No, I don't think that. I feel like he's always hidden his kills. He's either killed them and left them, or he's killed them and put them in a closet or a fucking attic or whatever.
No, whenever Michael kills, he kills with the intent of them getting discovered.
I don't know. Like, it bothered me that he removed the bodies from the car at the park scene and staged them on the little merry-go-round, and then staged Big John and Little John just as they were in one of their photos. That just really.
Oh yeah, that was very on brand for Michael, because even in Halloween 2018, he makes the jack-o'-lantern out of one of the cops' heads. He sets the other one up in the car. He puts Vicky's head inside the fish tank in the jack-o'-lantern, or whatever, I forget. But like, he's always been very crafty. That's why I always say Michael's a very crafty boy. He loves his arts and crafts. So yeah, I think that's definitely on brand for Michael. That's super on brand. I would be shocked if he just left him and walked away. Hell, he killed one guy by pinning him up on the wall like a poster.
Okay, yes, but that was where he killed him. He didn't.
But he didn't go to hide him. He left him there, right? Or did he?
No, he left him there. Yes, but he didn't he
on
didn't
display.
Move the body. He would kill people and then leave them where he killed them, or he would hide them. I don't remember really a major scene where anyways, it's not. The other thing I wanted to note with him killing people. And I know you've told me this from one of the movies I haven't seen, but in the movies I've seen so far, I don't remember him going to town on people with his knife, just repeatedly stab after stab after stab after stab. And it's like, I remember Michael going in and 1, 2, you're dead, move on. Like in 2018, he walks up behind that chick, stabs her through the neck, and just walks off. He might beat someone to death or whatever, but then he'll just leave. But with the two old people, he had that person on the table, and he was just like, "Yep, here's a knife for you."
I was gonna ask you about what you thought about that, where there was a wall full of knives, and he was like, "This one, now this one, okay, now I'm gonna try this one."
In this movie, so many times.
Okay, I'll grab a fifth knife. And he just kept putting knives in. I thought it was actually quite funny. The only time you've seen Michael Myers get extra like that is in Rob Zombie's Halloween. Particularly in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but it makes sense because it's for the same reason. In Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, he kills a nurse at the hospital. He stabs her and she falls behind the desk, and you see him. He just keeps going for about 45 seconds, and the whole time you hear him going, like hear he's so angry, and that's why he does it in this movie, because now he's fucking mad. And that's the why
I thought he was mad that Laurie.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's mad that Laurie shot his fucking fingers off, is what I think pisses him off the most. He's mad that they got away. He's mad that they tried to kill him. And maybe now, for the first time, he wants Laurie. But, you know, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Remember how we've talked about in the past how Michael doesn't give a fuck about Laurie? He's just brought to Laurie.
And I have a note on this.
Yeah, so we'll get to that later in the movie, because it's something that they do talk about, and I'm really glad they touched on it, because it's something I've thought for the longest time. Let me take a look at my plot list here. Yeah, so we get the scene with Big John and Little John. We both agree we spend too much time with them, even though they're fun. And you know what? This is where the movie falters. It's the conjunction of too much time with Big John and Little John, followed up by, now I'm supposed to give a fuck about this 20-minute scene about Mr. Tivoli, the guy, the mental patient. Those scenes together with very little to no Michael Myers in them is boring as fuck.
Yep.
And it lasts too long. So then we're thrusted into this, what seems like 15-20 minute scene where the mob at the hospital is just riled up and looking for someone to kill. And then one of the other mental patients who got out, who's not Michael Myers, shows up at the hospital looking for assistance because he's injured and scared. They see him. Yeah. They see a guy with white hair, an old man in a Smith's Grove sanitarium, whatever the fuck it is, jumpsuit, and they assume it's Michael. They go after him. It's an incredibly long, drawn-out scene of Laurie trying to stop them. He gets trapped in this little course, like a hallway, with doors on either side. People are trying to break in. At the last minute, he takes a fire extinguisher, bops out the window, and jumps to his death in a scene that is supposed to be very dramatic and like heart-wrenching. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you're supposed to feel. I feel like they were trying to really make it feel like, oh man, and they even said the cop, the old cop, as he walked up, and he said, "This isn't Michael. He's making us to be animals and monsters or whatever." You're really supposed to like feel like, oh man, the crowd is just, it's irate, it's manic. They are monsters. They're just, Michael's got them all so scared, and I just don't care. I don't care. That was so long. It felt like 45 minutes of no Michael, and I want to see Michael. That's what I'm here for.
If ever there was a horror movie,
fuck about this dude.
If ever there was a horror movie that did not need a B plot, it's this one, because B plot for this movie was supposed to be Mr. Tivoli, but we spent more time with Big John and Little John than we did with Mr. Tivoli. So by the time he kills himself, I'll admit that I was a little angry at Tommy and a little I felt feelings, but still it was too much. Like I said, this movie needed at least 10 minutes shaved off of it. And I don't want you guys to think that just because I'm critiquing the movie as we go that I didn't like it. I liked this movie. You're gonna see at the end of this video where it falls in my Halloween rankings. I liked this movie a lot, but there's still a lot to say about it, good and bad. Anything else before we move on?
Not for that scene, no.
Vamp for a minute while I read. Try to look for something.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I do have something that I could add before you get to that, and we can talk about this. And I know that I want to see. I hope to God you picked up on the Chekhov's gun in this movie.
Which
do you
one?
know what I'm talking about?
Say that all again.
Do you know what Chekhov's gun they failed to use in this movie?
It's hard without a context hint.
Allison left the knife with Lori, and they did nothing with it.
Oh, because they're going to in Halloween in the last one.
No, that's bullshit. They should have done something with it in this movie. Don't Chekhov's gun me next movie.
No,
you
I
showed
get it
the importance of it.
Because this movie is not. In fact, if anything, this proves that Chekhov's theory correct. Because we're in chapter 2 of 3. So we have seen Chekhov's gun in chapter 2.
Oh, no.
It'll go off in chapter 3.
That's such a lame. I was so mad when I saw that. I was like, oh, here we go. Nicky tells me about Chekhov's guns. We're going to see something cool with this fucking knife because they're zooming in on it. Allison's like putting it there. And then fucking it gets put in like
you're going to see it in Halloween Ends for
with
sure.
fucking Karen. And then nothing happens to it.
You're going to see it in the third. I promise. I promise.
That's such bullshit.
But it goes to what I was saying, that they can't have Michael and Lori face off, but they still need to get the weapon to her. They need to face off.
It could have been any weapon. It's just a knife.
Yeah, I guess. So Lori, while trying to stop everyone from attacking Mr. Tivoli, knees a doctor in the hip, which busts open her stitches. After that, Lonnie heads alone to Michael's childhood home. This is one of the deaths that bothered me in the movie. Lonnie pulls up with his son, whose name I can't remember, the boyfriend of Allison, and Allison. The three of them pull up to the house, and for some reason, he wants to go in alone. People in this movie have a real obsession with wanting to be the one to kill Michael. And I don't understand it. Like Tommy Doyle
says he's gonna be the one to do it. Lori's gonna do it. Tommy's gonna do it.
Yeah, and Lonnie is the guy I'm thinking of. I keep saying Tommy. Lonnie, he ran into Michael Myers one time and thought he was gonna get injured, and then ran. What? Why does that give him the go ahead to be like, I'm the one that has to pull the trigger? I saw him one time.
And the other thing is, why the fuck does he think it's okay to bring someone else's teenager and his own son to hunt down a mass murderer?
Yeah. Well, that's why he doesn't want them to go in, to be fair. Because he doesn't want his son to go
right next to the killer.
Yeah, but he brings him and parks him outside the fucking house.
Yeah.
I don't like that his death was off screen. All you hear is a gunshot. It seemed like lazy writing. I wish we could have seen more of that or seen something. By the way, I love the story that God dang it, I'm getting his name wrong. What's his name again? Lonnie. The story that Lonnie tells on the way to the house about doing drugs with Ray. Yeah. Doing peyote with Ray in the desert, and how he saw his reflection in a lake and got scared and took his pants off and jumped in. That was very funny. That was very funny. It landed.
Right.
So, but I don't like that he goes in the house only to die alone. All you hear is a gunshot. And then the kids follow him in. The other Elam child and Allison. Let me see. Yep. Yeah, they see Lonnie's corpse in the attic, like hanging in, like it looks like he got squished by the attic door, like got squished on his head. What do you think of the murder of Cameron? Cameron walks in, he sees blood hanging from the ceiling, gets attacked by Michael, gets the moida.
So good. That is so drawn out and so violent. I was like, oh.
How does he kill Cameron? Why am
that was so good.
Oh no, on the stairs, on the stairway. That's right. That's right. On the stairway, and then when
he shoves his head through the little railing, and then fucking pulls him up and smashes him back down,
smashing his head into the railing, and then he goes down the stairs in a tribute shot from the original. He goes down the stairs, and then Allison is like, leave him alone, come after me, and Michael just turns and just turns Cameron's head and breaks his neck. They get in a little tussle. They get in a little tussle on the stairs, and he throws Allison down the stairs, breaking her leg, at which point Karen arrives from behind, stabs Michael in the back with a pitchfork, which was actually really badass. I liked that.
That's cool.
A reference to Halloween 5 there, with Michael being attacked by the pitchfork. Let me see. Oh yeah, after she hits him with the pitchfork, she removes his mask. Yep. Karen leads Michael to Tommy's mob in a nearby alley. And this is a part of the movie where I'm like, what are they going to do? Is there going to be a Halloween 3? Because how does Michael get out of this? He's surrounded by what is essentially a posse. And if there's one thing I know about Haddonfield, it's they love their posses. There's like 3 Halloween movies where they round up a posse. Never goes well. They surround Michael and just beat the fuck out of him. I think they even took his shoes. What did you think of that scene?
Are we talking the whole scene and the ending of that scene, or just the beginning?
What do you think about the beatdown?
I thought it was good. I thought it looked cool. I won't go into what happens after just yet because we haven't gotten to that.
It's clear that they're not gonna kill him because they're using bludgeoning weapons. They're hitting him with 2x4s and bats and.
I mean, they're trying to kill him.
They're definitely trying.
They shot him like 4 times.
So this is where the big ending happens. Okay, so Karen walks up and grabs the knife that Michael's reaching for in a really cool scene. Stabs him seemingly like at the top of his back, I think. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, it's like right between the shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. And then at which point Karen kind of wanders into the Myers home, and you're being given a lot of exposition in this movie about how Michael would stand in his sister's room and stare out. And Allison wants to do that for some reason. So she walks in the house. I thought
she saw like Judy's ghost.
Oh, that's right. She looked up in the window and saw what I think was meant to be child Michael from the 1960s staring out the window. So that draws her into the house, and she starts walking up there. While this is happening, one street over, where Michael has just been beat up by the mob and is now surrounded by the mob, Karen took off to go be with her daughter. They think he's dead. They're all standing around with cocoa, and they got blankets and shit. Like, they're just like, cops are there. Michael gets up and proceeds to just obliterate the group of bystanders. He probably kills 6 or 7 people. And then we cut back to Allison walking up the Myers house stairs, going into Judith's room. And then she's standing there in the window. You see her just staring out into the street, at which point you see Michael's mask appear behind her. And Michael kills Karen. Holy shit. That ending saved the movie from mediocrity for me. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, that ending saved it entirely.
I could not believe they pulled a Drew Barrymore in Scream, but to the nth degree. Yeah. Whereas Scream makes you spend 20 minutes with this character. You're positive she's not going to die. It's Drew Barrymore. This is what the audience is thinking. And this is why Scream is so good. The audience, Wes Craven knew the audience is going to go, this is Drew Barrymore, she's not going to die. And in his meta domination, he killed her. Threw the audiences for a loop in 1996. David Gordon Green just did that, but tenfold. We just spent 2 entire movies getting to learn Allison and getting to know her and care about her and her quirks and her fears. The fact that she wears a Christmas sweater on Halloween because she hates the holiday. Just you're spending so much time with this character, and they just not unceremoniously, but brutally kill her at the end, which now tells me nobody's safe. So I ask you 2 questions. First question I want you to answer. Are they going to kill Allison in part 3? Second, what about the ending? What do you think about the ending?
Will they kill Allison?
Think Shakespearean Hamlet, everyone dies. Because Laurie's going to die, Michael's going to die, probably. Laurie's going to kill her.
Nah, Karen, no, Allison will live.
Allison will live?
I think Allison will live. Unfortunately, I hope she dies, but I think Allison will live.
To what end? Like, why? To continue
just
the franchise?
because she'll be like the last survivor of the Strode family, sort of thing, and then she'll be paranoid that Michael will come back in some way, unless they like definitively like cut his head off or something.
Well, wouldn't be the first time.
The ending though with Karen, oh man, I was like ready to fucking jump out of my chair. That was so good. I loved it. I don't think anybody expected that sort of ending. That was nuts. And it was so raw and good, and it's just like, holy shit. But at the same time, I'm upset with it. Because you got multiple cops outside. You got Allison there. You have people everywhere around the back alley, back like one street down where everybody was just murdered. And then everybody in front of the house. Nobody saw Michael go upstairs.
Yeah, that's totally believable. Unless you for
it's
sure, as a viewer, did you for sure see cops behind the house?
I don't think
like,
cops
are you assuming that cops would be behind the house, or did you see?
No, I'm talking about
cops?
all the people. Wait, did Karen go behind? No, she didn't go behind the house. Nobody was behind the house. I'm thinking that Karen went behind the house where the mob attacked Michael, and actually it was a street the other way.
No, because Michael, think about it. Michael could have perfectly gone to the back door because they're on.
Yeah, he could have.
They're on.
But he would have had to wrap around the stairs.
They're on this street here. Karen leaves, goes across the street from the Myers house to the house across the street, through their backyard to the next street over. That means that the Myers house, the back of it, Michael would approach the back of it if he went the same way Karen went.
Oh, you're right. I don't know, whatever.
But the only way that I could agree with you there is if you for sure know that you saw police behind the house. Do you know what I mean? Because then obviously he couldn't sneak in.
Yeah. So I have a couple, like, since we're at the end of the movie, I have a couple talking points, 3 of them actually left. And this movie disappointed me when Michael, like, got up and murdered the mob on him, because it just feels like they can't decide, is he supernatural or not? Pick a fucking lane and stay in it.
But that's the good thing, is they don't know.
Invincible?
They don't know.
Not.
All we know is what they know, and they don't know.
As a viewer, I want to know.
I bet you do, but we don't get that.
Because they're talking about him being... Oh, it's so frustrating. Is he just a person or not? Because they portray him as a person, they make it sound like he's a person. There's all these things.
It's frustrating, but it's not
bad
writing. But then
he gets shot 4 times, stabbed in the back, bludgeoned, and everything, and then he just, hey guys, I respawned. You're all dead.
I'll tell you the same thing I told the lady on Twitter that tried to tell me that Michael Myers was supernatural. All the injuries you just described, 50 Cent survived worse injuries when he was shot.
Okay, I know that, but he got up and killed everyone.
So did 50 Cent.
Bare hands.
I'm just kidding. 50 murdered 29 people.
Okay, so that was one of my hot topics. It's like, it's just, I felt like they couldn't stick in a lane. The other thing, I have one bigger one at the end that I'll catch on. Another thing is, I didn't really think Allison's character was good in this movie. I thought she did a fantastic job.
Really? I loved her. I like that she stood up to her mom.
Movie, I guess, yeah, you know, it's fine she liked to stay up to her mom, but let's look at this. Lori was traumatized and spent her whole life preparing for Michael, and in turn imprinted that on Karen. And Karen was forced to kind of live with that fear. Karen would not have raised Allison to be anything other than a very standard Californian teenaged girl.
Illinois.
And yet suddenly she like flips a switch and is like fearless against Michael and picks up the shotgun. And it's like, dude, she never even fired a gun before.
Are you talking about
like,
who's fearless? Allison, all of a sudden?
Allison.
I like that,
she,
though.
Like,
Here's how I see it.
Becomes a rogue.
Is Lori was who she was, batshit crazy, right? And like you said, she imprinted that onto Karen. And Karen tried to break that cycle. We see that constantly in Halloween 2018. No, Mom, the world's a good place full of good people. She has that argument with her mom in Halloween 20. So she tried to break the cycle, and she did. But the second she knows that Michael Myers is real, just like the second her mom found out Michael Myers is real, she immediately flipped a switch and turned into her mom. Immediately didn't want to let her child leave. Immediately became like a hovering,
that's fine.
a paranoid parent. And I love that about her character. And then I love that we see Allison actually do what her mom was trying to do. Her mom wanted to break the cycle and be the badass and stand up to Michael, but she couldn't. She wanted to hide. And Allison said no. Allison broke the cycle and did what her grandma and her mom couldn't do. She went after Michael, whereas her grandma and her mom just hid for fucking ever.
I don't know. I just feel like she's been through a lot in the past. Like, this is all taking place in one night.
This is all taking place over like 4 hours.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same night.
Yeah.
In fact, you see at one point when Lonnie Elam is going to the Myers house before he dies, his clock on his truck only says 10:56 p.m. It's not that late.
Oh, wow.
But then you see a bit of sunlight when Lori stabs Michael. Or not Lori, Karen stabs Michael when he's laying in the street. But so I don't know, it's weird. The final shot of the movie, though, to close it out, is Lori staring out of her hospital room window with a side match shot of Michael staring out of his window. And that sets up the final of the trilogy, which is going to be them facing off. I, for one, would really not mind if we're going to keep this a self-contained trilogy and the story of these people ends after the next one. Go full Hamlet. Kill Allison 2/3 of the way through the next movie. Have a huge emotional impact. And now Lori has lost her daughter and granddaughter to Michael, and they kill each other in a thing at the end. That would be a great way to end it.
I mean, it's an angle that they could go. I feel like that would be predictable, though. I would rather them not go a predictable route.
No. What? No, you think that's predictable to kill Allison?
I think there's two ways they could do it. They can either kill everybody or leave one of them alive.
Or kill nobody.
Or kill nobody.
So do you think a better ending is for Lori and to die and Michael to quote unquote die, and then Allison becomes the final girl?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a movie director, but I have written a lot. I don't think that killing everybody is an expected result, and I don't like expected results. I would rather they shake it up and, maybe.
You think killing everybody
Michael
is the expected result?
And everyone else dies.
Wait, sorry, could you repeat that last sentence?
Well, it's one of the expected results. I think it would be more interesting if maybe Michael killed Allison and Lori, and maybe Michael's like really in a poor state at the end, and then like right before the movie ends, like his foot twitches or something. So to kind of
we are so polar opposite. What you just described would be the most Hollywood disappointing ending I've seen in 7 other Halloween movies.
Nah.
The whole like he's dead, better watch out at the end. He's gonna twitch, so he's not really dead. See you next year. I've seen that a million times in Halloween films.
Yeah, it's
Halloween
common.
Resurrection
I'm
ends
just
that
saying,
way.
I don't want.
I mean, we both agree that it's unexpected that they killed Karen, right?
That's very unexpected.
So wouldn't it be
But
even
now
more
we're
unexpected
expecting both of them to die.
No, no, Allison and like everyone dies. I don't think that's expected. Everyone's gonna expect
Who's
a
gonna
happy
be
ending.
cast in the next movie that killed everyone?
I don't know, man. Michael never dies. You know how it is. Michael will come back, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Oh, I will say this: at the end of the movie, when you see Karen walking up the stairs of the Myers house and she's making her way up to Judith's room, I was scared. I was so scared that they were gonna pull a bullshit ending like they did in Halloween 4. And I'm about to spoil the ending of Halloween 4 for you. You should have seen it. But at the end of Halloween 4, the little girl that Michael's been chasing this whole movie is now the bad guy. So the little girl is safe at the end of the movie, and Loomis and everyone is hanging out in the house, and the mother is drawing a bath for the little girl upstairs, and then you hear the mom scream. Loomis runs up to the bottom of the stairway, and he sees the little girl standing there with the knife, just like young Michael, and he goes, "No!" and he tries to shoot her, but there's no bullets. And that's how the movie ends, and that is the implication that in the next movie, the evil Michael Myers is going to be a little girl. Fuck that idea. That was the stupidest idea in Halloween history. I'm glad they retconned it for Halloween 5. Halloween 5 was trash, but it was better than whatever the fuck they would have cut. You know what's not scary to me? A 9-year-old with a knife is not scary. I could bench press that bitch. I'm not scared of her. So I'm glad they didn't do that. And when we were watching the end of Halloween Kills and you see Lori or Karen walking through the house meticulously, I was like, they're gonna fucking make her evil, aren't they? They're gonna make this bitch evil. But luckily they didn't do that. They just killed her instead. I thought they were gonna pull a Halloween 4 ending, and they didn't, so I'm very thankful for that.
So my last negative that I have written down here is mid-movie or somewhere in there, they show a big scene where Allison is talking to the cops, Karen is talking to the cops, and they're both telling their version of the story. And Karen is saying how Michael tracked down my mom. He's gonna come to the hospital. He tracked her down. And Allison's like, no, that didn't happen. Michael, it wasn't Michael coming to Laura or to
Dr. Sartain.
It was the doctor.
Right.
And then later on, the cop, what's his face? Because I don't remember character names that well. Is laying there in bed, and he flat out tells Lori straight to her face, "It's not about you." And she didn't even react. I would have loved a scene where she like has a breakdown of like, holy shit, I've spent my entire life being afraid of Michael, and he didn't even come for me. He didn't even
think about me. Yeah.
He didn't even... It wasn't Michael's fault. It was the doctor. She didn't even react. Like something. Yeah. They said it, and it was just like, nothing happened.
You know, I remember that scene. I don't remember Officer Brady, whatever the fuck his name is, Hawkins. I don't remember him saying that it's not about you. I can't really talk on that.
Well, he didn't necessarily say that, but he said that it was that he wasn't coming for her or something. I'd have to look up the scene. In fact,
yeah, I'd have to watch that again because I don't remember that exactly.
But yeah, he did say that like he either said it's not about her or that he wasn't coming to kill her or whatever. But
I just want to,
she just didn't.
Well, I just want to say really quick that I've been calling Michael McDonald Andy McDonald this whole time. His name is Michael McDonald. Andy McDonald is a skater from the 90s. Sorry, go on.
Oh, nothing. I'm just looking through the movie real quick. I'm trying to find out.
So I'm going to have a really good time going through people's reviews and seeing what they have to say about it. I'm extremely interested to see what Red Letter Media is going to have to say about it. I have a feeling they're going to lean heavily towards how you felt about the movie rather than how I felt about it. Um,
Hmm.
so now that you've seen it more than once,
Yep.
would you recommend this movie to somebody? If so, who would you recommend this movie for?
I would recommend it to somebody who really likes Halloween movies. If you enjoy the Halloween franchise and you like Michael Myers, then see it. It's not a bad movie. I just found it to be too much town, not enough Michael, and it just the basically. I'm looking at it. I won't go into too much. I'm fucking going off on a tangent. If you're not interested in Michael Myers films, it's not worth a watch. It's just not. Halloween 2018, yes. And I feel like if you would have only watched Halloween 2018 and just left it at that, perfectly fine. I don't even care. Halloween Kills, unimportant. It's part of the Halloween franchise and it's part of Michael Myers. But I'm looking at the IMDb on there's two different writers. Halloween 2018 was apparently written by someone named Jeff Fradley, and Halloween Kills was written by Scott Teems.
Yeah.
And it really shows the difference.
Well, they
were
co-written by McBride and David Gordon Green as well. And plus, it was one of those things where, like, if Jamie Lee Curtis wanted to change something in the script, I'm sure she did. It was a big team effort with a lot of executive producers on board.
Yeah. I think it's okay if you really like Myers films, but overall, I didn't really care. Like I said, out of the 6 out of 11 movies I've seen, it's the second worst, and I'll throw in Halloween 3 in there. It's better than Halloween 3 because that's not a Myers film.
Right.
But
well,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, you're talking this movie through with you and kind of examining some of the holes in it did affect my overall ranking on Letterboxd. I actually ended up dropping it a spot. One thing that really goes a long way for me with these movies is it fun to watch? I talked about this a bit earlier, and movies like the original Halloween is very fun to watch. It's easy to digest. It's a quick hour and a half. Halloween 4 is 80s slashers at their best. Hour and a half, real quick. Rob Zombie's Halloween, 2 hours and 12 minutes. Gritty as fuck. There's a rape scene. There's a lot. When I'm done watching Halloween 2007, Rob Zombie's Halloween, I'm exhausted and I feel a little dirty. So how fun the movie is goes a long way for me, is what I'm trying to say. And because this movie is heavier than other Halloween movies, it affected its ranking a bit. But so you'd rank it at the bottom?
Out of the ones I've seen, yeah, I didn't feel like it was as fun or interesting to watch over the others. I felt like it was just a drag.
Well,
I didn't like the writing. I didn't like some of the characters. It dragged on too long.
Well, I'm gonna kick it over to my Letterboxd so we can see my rankings list. If I move my goddamn face. So you'll see here, I actually have it at number 3. Now, after talking to you, that's probably going to go behind part 4. I'll probably drop it to number 4. Hold on, I'm trying to move this thing. There we go. So the reason why I'm struggling between putting it between 3 and 4 is because 4 is very easy to watch. It's easily digestible. Have a great night, kitten. It's easily digestible. So it's really it also has really good kills. Halloween Kills has really great kills, but so does Halloween 4.
There it is.
So there it is. That's my ranking. I put Halloween Kills for now at number 3 out of what is now 12 Halloween films. Jiminy. I did.
Okay, yeah, I found the scene. I found the scene if you'd like me to recite it word for word. Nicky?
What?
I did find the scene that I was looking for.
Okay.
He said, Laurie says he's after me, and the cop, I cannot remember his name. You've said it so many times. I can't remember.
Hawkins.
Hawkins is laying in bed. He speaks up. He says, no, he's not. And then Laurie says, Frank, and he goes, no, he's not. It was the doctor that took him to your house that night. It wasn't Michael. It's not about you. That's exactly what he says.
And then what happens?
And
what's her reaction?
there is none. It cuts to a scene of... Well, then he says he's a 6-year-old boy with the strength of a man and the mind of an animal. And then she says, I know, I've seen his face. I've looked into his eyes when I took off his mask.
Right.
And blah, 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 blah. She doesn't react to that. I feel like if I had spent 40 years being terrified of someone and preparing for them to come for me, and I find out that suddenly I've wasted my life, I would have a breakdown or an emotional period, not just continue the conversation like nothing's in matters. We still gotta kill Michael.
Yeah, there's definitely there should definitely be a scene in Halloween Ends that shows Laurie having like some sort of breakdown and dealing with that.
Yeah, they really should have. Like they did that with the knife that I talked about earlier, and then that scene, and they blue balled me to a fucking hard extent. Like, how are you gonna drop bombs like this and do nothing with it? Don't fucking tell me it's gonna be in the next movie. That's gonna be in like 2 more years.
It's gonna be in 1 year, but I mean that's how trilogies go, man. I mean. You can't be expected to be spoon-fed all the results in chapter 2 or 3.
Not mid-movie where they just don't go into something that was said right then.
Right. I don't know. I think I'm a little more understanding of the fact that this is just chapter 2 of 3, so I don't expect all questions to be answered.
I really felt like they dropped the ball. I think whoever really wrote the script of this movie did a terrible job. They really had a chance to make it a Empire Strikes Back, and they didn't.
That's so funny because that's exactly the comparison I made. That this is the Empire Strikes Back of Halloween, because it is way more cynical. It is way more dark. It is way more violent. It is definitely the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy, at least for now, until we see the third one.
So, well, that would say that you think this is better than Halloween 2018, then.
Why? Because you like the Empire Strikes Back better?
Well, everybody likes The Empire Strikes Back better.
I like A New Hope.
Ranks that as the best Star Wars movie.
I like A New Hope. I think.
Okay, well,
I think
the Empire.
I think The Empire Strikes Back is laborious to watch.
Oh wow!
I'm Luke. I'm depressed. I wear black now. That movie's boring as fuck.
Wow. Yeah. Overall, like, I was really looking forward to it, and I was really let down. I think whoever did with 2018 and Jeff Fradley doing the screenplay, or whoever did the screenplay, did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
And 2021 just, it didn't hit. Like, it swung, but went way out of my way.
I know we said we weren't going to,
wasted my time.
But if you had to rate this out of 10, what would you rate it out of 10?
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. You hated it.
Yeah.
5 out of 10, just average.
No, I didn't hate it. Yeah, I thought it was average. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I didn't think it was a great movie. I thought it was okay.
Considering that, the law of diminishing returns, I take all that into effect. Obviously, this is not the first time we're seeing his mask. It's not the first time we're seeing Jamie Lee back as Laurie. It's not the first time, the law of diminishing returns is in full effect here. But I do overall think it was a very good movie. I'd probably rate it I'd say for now a 7.5 out of 10.
See, I originally on my first watching said a 7 out of 10, and then after watching it again, I dropped down to a 5. It's one of those movies I'll probably watch with you for one more time as a third time for me, but after that, I have no desire to watch it again.
Yeah, I think it really delivers on the kills, probably better than any Halloween ever has in terms of the quantity and the quality. That goes a long way with me. I'm a big fan of the way James Jude Courtney plays Michael Myers, so I definitely am willing to forgive some because of that. I think the movie was a little long in the tooth. I think we spent too much time with Big John, Little John. And I love the fact that Karen was killed at the very end. Everyone's interest for the final Halloween in the trilogy just skyrocketed after that ending.
You know what? I'll bump that up to a 6 out of 10 just for that scene alone. That was such a hard-hitting surprise.
I would have given the movie a 6 out of 10 if they didn't kill Karen, if they didn't have something like that in the ending. One thing I wanted to say, I just saw the trailer playing behind my head back here. I'm really glad that they didn't just go, damn, Ray's dead. That sucks, huh? Yeah, that's a bummer. Anyways, we got to kill Michael. They spent scenes, almost the entire first act, mourning Ray's death, which is what they should have done. Allison lost her dad. Karen lost her husband. I'm glad that they adequately mourned his death instead of just there was more than one scene
in that first scene.
Yeah, there was more than one scene. It was her washing her hands of the blood and finding her wedding rings under the blood and thinking, and then she closes the curtain and just cries. Then there's another scene where her and Allison are sitting on the stairs and they work it out. Then there's another scene where she says she's leaving to go hunt Michael for her dad because she loves her dad. So I'm really glad they didn't just go, yeah, that's a bummer, and then move on. I was afraid they might.
Yeah. I'm really curious who they're going to have in this next movie because they killed off like the entire fucking cast.
Yeah, I'm
like,
glad they did.
All we have left is Laurie and Allison.
Did Sheriff, the old Sheriff, Lee Brackett, was he killed? The guy that was the guard at the hospital?
Nope.
That old man?
I don't think he left the hospital.
Good. I like him. So, final thoughts.
Oh, how'd you feel about when the mother came looking for Oscar?
Oh, when Oscar's mom came to the hospital?
Yeah.
Let me let this sound alert pass for editing purposes. And then ask me the question again.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just say when. Okay. How did you feel when Oscar's mom came to the hospital looking for her son?
It was another great example of the movie wrapping up all the loose ends. I love that they showed it. We got to see it.
They showed it.
They showed him on the table. Hey, did we see Dr. Sartain's penis?
Yeah, we did. I'm serious. Is that Dr. Sartain?
Yes! I fucking knew it. I'd know that cock anywhere. They showed him laying on the table in the background, and I leaned over to my wife, and I was like, "Is that Dr. Sartain's penis?"
Here's the other thing, though. What
a
the
good movie.
fuck are they just like
8 out of 10
letting
now.
people roam the hospital, and then at the same time, there's dead bodies in one of the room, and the window's just like clear, and they're not
There's
covered
a good
up.
reason for that. They make it really clear earlier on. They have like more than one doctor and nurse saying, we're not equipped for this. Like, we can't handle this. And we're a tiny town, and we have like 500 people storming our hospital, and then they lost control, and the people just started wandering the hospital trying to chase Louis Tivoli. So that's how people were all over the place.
At least cover the body.
Dude, they were hey, you know what? If you've seen the original Halloween 2, you're just going to be happy that the lights were on in this hospital. They were fine. This hospital was fine. In the original Halloween 2, the lights weren't even on. It was so weird. So final thoughts from you on Halloween Kills in conclusion.
It's a decent movie. It's probably better than some of the Halloween movies that are out there that I haven't seen yet. It's good for a Halloween fan, and it's good for a Myers fan. Overall, I'd give it a 6 out of 10, but I'm not terribly interested in watching it again, even though I probably will watch it with you one more time. I think it's worth a watch at least once if you're a horror fan and you have kept up with the Myers films, or at least even 2018. If you haven't seen 2018, there's no point in seeing this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what I've been trying to say. Remember how like 5 times now I've used it's only part 2 of 3 as an excuse? And that goes to what you're saying right now, is that you're saying don't see this if you haven't seen 1. And why is that? Because they're basically one movie, right? And that's what I'm saying is these are all one piece. This isn't like the original series where they're all kind of different. So that's kind of why I'm giving it so much leniency. I guarantee you, we're gonna see Laurie use that knife.
I hope so, because if we don't, I'm gonna.
If she doesn't, I will fucking riot. So, for me though, final thoughts on Halloween Kills. It's definitely a worthy entry in the franchise. As you see from my Letterboxd rankings, I currently have it at number 3 of 12. It's likely gonna fall to number 4 over time. I'm so fresh off seeing it, so it'll have to wait. I'm gonna watch it again tomorrow. I might even peep it again tonight. I think it's a worthy entry. I think its strong points are the kills, James Jude Courtney as Michael Myers, and the cinematography are all really good. I think its weak spots are its writing, the actual screenplay, not the script. The screenplay, the music was a little bit of a letdown, and just the fact that it suffered from every middle movie syndrome a trilogy can, where this movie, I hate to say this because it makes it sound like I don't like it, but this movie doesn't matter. In the end, after Halloween Ends comes out, the third part in this trilogy, I would bet you fucking money you could skip part 2 and go from 1 to 3 and get the whole story. Because all that happened in this movie, the most major thing that happened is we lost Karen. And that's it. I can't think of another major plot point. And that happened in the last 30 seconds of the film. The entire time we spent with Tommy Doyle and Lonnie Elam was pointless. Because both of them died. Fucking Lonnie's kid died. Like so it was all a circle, a flat circle. It led to nothing. What was that?
They didn't even die in a ceremonious way. Lonnie fucking died off camera, and then Tommy just got like a stab and then a bonk.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. Actually, you're right. Yeah, he got bonked and stabbed. So we spend the bulk of this movie with characters that don't matter in the long scheme of things. But if you're coming to this movie for character progression, I think you're just in it for the wrong thing. This movie has always been about rage and body count. They've made that pretty clear from the beginning. I think we're going to see a lot more character development in Halloween Ends. But for being the second movie in a trilogy, I think it did pretty good, if not maybe a little too long. And we spent a little too much time with Big John, Little John. And I keep bringing them up because I just like saying Big John, Little John. Overall, a very good movie. I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It might fluctuate over time. I'm going to have to watch it more. But I'm definitely excited for Halloween Ends. I think killing Karen was the absolute right choice. Blew everyone away in the theater that I was in. Now nobody's safe. It brings up so many questions. I liked it. Any final words, Ghosty?
So I want to, yeah, and it's not necessarily to do with Halloween Kills. It has to do with Halloween Ends. We saw how vulnerable Laurie was in this movie. She could she couldn't stand without painkillers.
Yeah,
she had to, which
injected.
was a little excessive when she stabbed herself with a needle.
So hardcore, though.
It's just a fucking needle, Laurie. Just take the needle and push it. That's a bit much.
You
Anyways,
don't have to break it off in your thigh.
Right. But she could barely even get out her room, and then she kneed the doctor, and her stitches ripped open, and she had to go right back to bed. I'm guessing the Halloween Ends will be at the end of the night, right before morning. How is Laurie? I mean, they're obviously not gonna. I don't see how they could make it wait until Laurie is healed. So how is she gonna go from bedridden in the hospital, barely able to even stand?
I'll tell you
to be
why.
able to face off.
I'll tell you how.
Michael.
I've thought of this, and this might be a divisive turn in the story. COVID. Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills take place in 2018. When Halloween Ends comes out, it's going to be 2022. What's to say they don't make the movie take place 3 years later? Maybe Michael's been in hiding. I said, what's to say they don't make the movie take place in 2022?
Why would they do that? Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills take place on the same night.
Yeah, but why does that mean the third one has to be in that? It's a trilogy. It's not all meant to be one story in one night. It's just a 3 movies.
Yeah, but Michael's not gonna just stop killing. He's not gonna stop killing until he gets stopped. So that would mean he's just on a massive killing spree for 2 years.
He can do what he's done at least 3 other times before in the series and just go into hiding.
He's done that?
Oh yeah, he went into hiding twice, and then one time they thought he was dead, but he was being cared for by a hermit on a river. And he awoke a year later and killed the hermit. It's as retarded as it sounds.
Great.
So... What was the last we saw of Michael was him killing Karen. So what if the movie ends and then he just leaves undetected, just like he came in undetected? By the time they discover all the dead people on that other street, Michael's gone. And then Michael goes into hiding. I don't know. I'm just saying that is possible to do it that way. It doesn't have to be on the same night. It should be. I don't think it has to be, though.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm going to be kind of surprised if they somehow magic her way to feeling better and then able to stand off.
Yeah, if they give her, plot armor, as you say, to just start fighting Michael. Because that's the thing, is she has to be in fit shape to fight Michael for the big fight, you know?
Shit, she fucking lost against Michael when she was in fit shape.
That's why I don't think for Laurie this is ever meant to be a surviving prospect. She knows she's gonna die. She plans on dying. Yeah. But as long as she kills Michael on the way out, she's fine.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw an interview with Jamie Lee Curtis was with Dead Meat, and I forget what the question was that prompted this, but she said there's more honor in dying in the fight than there is in running away and surviving. The actress made that point. So I have a feeling that that's probably where they're going to go.
Probably.
So,
I'd
you know
be
what?
Disappointed otherwise.
I enjoyed it. I'm glad you had a very different viewpoint than I did. If you guys enjoyed the review, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm live right now over on Twitch. www.twitch.tv/NickyJamesPB. Ghosty, thank you very much for joining me for this review.
Yeah, it was fun.
And to the rest of you guys, I'm going to take a short break, about a half hour, and we'll see you very, very soon.